Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're looking for recommendations on what manhwa to read, then here are some that I read recently that might be of interest. Manhwa titles are timestamped in the video for your convenience. Our first manhwa for today is Hello, Mr. Veterinarian, a modern manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 79 on. Its main character is Lee Jun, a person living in modern-day Korea making a living by being a vet. An animal lover by heart, his main job, of course, is dealing with dogs and cats as they're the most common pets. Lee Jun, due to the influence of his pet that had passed away long ago, was given the ability to speak with animals. As an aside, he speaks normal human language, but he hears them as if the animals were also speaking that native tongue, although everybody else hears the normal sounds that animals usually make. Not knowing for what purpose he received this power from his pet for, Lee Jun resolves himself to be the best vet he could be. The vet who can talk to animals is here. The story is 6 out of 10. As expected from a slice-of-life manhwa like this, there really isn't an overarching story that's unfolding. It's more like an episodic show that has some linear threads here and there that move the direction of the manhwa slightly forward each time. The characters are 8 out of 10. Due to the nature of the shtick that Lee Jun is stuck with, both the human owners and the animals they come with become characters in their own right. At least from my opinion, the animals are very much more of the entertaining side and offer the negative and positive parts of being a pet. It very much evokes a please get a pet vibe and take care of them properly, of course. The art is a 9 out of 10. If you're an animal lover, the manhwa's art styles emphasizes on the animal details and how they would interact with humans if we actually understood them. Almost feels like a Pixar animated movie of sorts with a talking animal. Warm and fuzzy feelings all around. So if you're a fan of modern manhwas with slice of life vibes attached and enjoy feel-good episodic stories on top, Hello, Mr. Veterinarian would be a good one to start reading, a fans of the genre title for sure. This next manhwa to take a look at is Welcome to the Abhuman Protection Bureau, a fantasy manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 40 on. The protagonist of this tale is Sarah Union, a maid working for a duke household in a fantasy world. Very early on, due to a slight mistake on her part, she witnesses the true form of the demon duke and is thus ousted by him thereafter, whilst being sworn to secrecy, of course. Sarah is recruited, weirdly enough, to a job that reveals a world of a mysterious agency in the place that she lives in, which is then titled the Abhuman Protection Bureau, a secretive agency who is in charge of taking care of a variety of fantasy species. The pace doesn't stop there though, as she's immediately caught up in the struggle of the species that she's assigned to, the vampires. Her life clearly isn't easy. The story is 7 out of 10. Considering Sarah's own background, which is explored here and there, it's almost ironic, at least initially, that she's working to protect other species in the agency. Even now, her attitude is one of trying to coexist with these other beings, and she is most likely going to get entangled with a lot of drama moving forward. The characters are 8 out of 10. What is most revealing is that there are clearly a lot of interweaving relationships within and outside the Protection Bureau. The task that Sarah has been entrusted with slowly reveals the world to both herself and us the readers, which I personally enjoy. As a slight addition as well, the fact that we don't know everything about her coworkers just adds that little bit more of interesting mystery. The art is 7 out of 10. Honestly, the art style from the cover alone would be a good indicator if you would enjoy this manhwa or not. If you enjoyed becoming a special unit mage in another world's art style, then this one would probably actually be down your alley. So if you enjoy fantasy manhwas where there are a variety of species intermingling with each other both in aggressive and passive ways, then Welcome to the Abhuman Protection Bureau is worth considering an it's okay stamp for me. The Corporation's Bottom Works Well is the name of our next manhwa to take a look at. It's a modern manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 38 on. Chae Kyung-jun is the name of its main character. A high school graduate living in modern-day Korea, due to family situations and financial hardships, he never got to go to college, and his mother was going through some medical issues that were causing some hardships. It's established though that some mysterious patron paid for their medical fees. Having a more pessimistic or selfish view of the world, Gyeongjun, instead of being positive and receptive of the news, immediately becomes suspicious instead, and does all he can to find out the identity of the mysterious patron. Eventually, through some effort, he does so, and applies to Taesong, a conglomerate in his version of Korea, to at least, maybe, get some answers. The story is 7 out of 10. Being dealt a rough card in life is one explanation of Gyeonggjuk's outlook towards the world. It also being the motivation for him to try and join the giant conglomerate are clearly just vehicles to move this plot forward for now. If it doesn't develop something either more positive or negative, then the score will probably go down the next time I review this manhwa. The characters are 6 out of 10. Weirdly enough, I find Gyeongchun a little abrasive as the main character. Unlike similar manhwas that I've covered before, his attitude, while it can be explained, it's very know-it-all and ridiculous genius confidence type of attitude. Just be aware of this if you read this manhwa. The art is 8 out of 10. Modern relationships, competition, and social tensions are the main highlights of this manhwa's art style. It's able to portray these seemingly more socially intense moments from the various individuals' perspectives, not just the main characters, and that I personally enjoy. So if you're a fan of modern manhwas, specifically those about giant conglomerate or company spaces similar to Become a Legend as an all-rounder from my previous videos, then The Corporation Bottom Works Well is at least an interesting manhwa to take a look at, fans of the genre stamp, for sure. Our shorter story for this week is The Genius Midfielder's Passes Are Special, a sports manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 14 on. The focus of this story is on Sung Yoo-jun, a promising soccer athlete, at least in his youth. During his star days, he started off as a frog in the well, but then is shown a wider world where there are people better than him. To his dismay though, he was shortly thereafter diagnosed with complete colorblindness, pretty much preventing him from doing anything in the world of soccer. He ends up forfeiting his athlete career and chooses to pursue continuing his father's career in business. Although, he still keeps in touch with his soccer peers, at least the ones he met early on. Later in life, he laments not being able to achieve more, and what do you know, the quintessential truck comes to cause an accident, waking up back in the past where he lost his color sight way back when he was still playing soccer. Now with a new chance, a new sight, and an interesting ability that focuses more on his weakest game, which is passing, what can Yoo-jun accomplish? The potential is 8 out of 10. For a sports manhwa that focuses directly on a soccer player, it's a nice sight to see. I'm a fan of sports manhwa myself, and so seeing any of at least decent quality is a plus in my book. Yoo-jun having to figure out this new gift on the fly in his second life is at least interesting. What stage, though, overall, awaits him in the future? The art is 9 out of 10. The intense moments that come from being an athlete, the time slowing down to a crawl type phenomenon is on full display here. Yes, it's over-exaggerated, but it also helps put into perspective what's happening. Yoo-jun's main position, being in the midfield, allows for a more varied team dynamic that wouldn't be as possible if he was a forward or a striker, at least in my opinion. So if you enjoy shorter stories, and particularly sports manhwa that focus on soccer like a tactical genius on the field from my previous videos, then The Genius Midfielder's Passes Are Special is worth looking at. A definite fans of the genre approval. Another week, another highlight. For those unaware, this is a section of the video I update impressions for manhwa that I previously covered. Today's highlight is Genius Artist's Random Studio, which I've now read up to completion, which is about 100 chapters long. Info card and description will have links to my original opinion. Kim Jin-woo, the resident crazy writer that has somehow achieved major success with his various dramas, film, and other such endeavors in the entertainment industry. The fact that he has major support from a chaebol of sorts makes it even more ridiculous. The story keeps getting crazier from here on out, but due to its completed status, I will refrain from more spoilers as much as I can. At the end of the day, for a 100-chapter manhwa, it's actually quite a wild ride and completely doesn't take itself seriously and makes itself a good break from more of the serious or very intense manhwas that I usually read through. Getting back into it to finish it through was a treat due to the stakes being raised so weirdly high as well. You will get what I mean by the time you finish it. My previous scores for this manhwa were 6 out of 10 for story, 9 out of 10 for art, and 8 out of 10 for characters. The story stays the same at 6 out of 10 as, honestly, the more I kept reading, the more ridiculous things got. With a good premise, it establishes a good consistent system for Jinwoo to follow that doesn't deviate all the way to the end. Problem is, there really isn't much else there is, and it focuses more on the comedy than a good story in my opinion. It's serviceable at best. The art goes up 1 point from 9 out of 10 to 10 out of 10, as like I talked about for the story portion, if you don't take this manhwa seriously, the art style, comedic sketches, and ridiculous situations portrayed offer such a breath of funny fresh air that I couldn't help but be engrossed in it. Don't expect perfect character portraits or amazing backgrounds. If anything, just expect the opposite and you will probably be pleasantly surprised. The characters, though, go down 1 point from 8 out of 10 to 7 out of 10, as due to the length of the final product, what I thought could be an interesting tale about someone growing as a writer and maybe being able to live without the system potentially, turns out to be completely the opposite. Nothing wrong with that though, just my read of the expectations was something completely different. Genius Artist's Random Studio is definitely a good break from more serious intentions, but you could expect something different without that particular context in mind. An overall treat for those looking for a manhwa that doesn't take itself seriously. A very interesting but title. Would you agree or would you not? Comment down below your thoughts on Genius Artist's Random Studio. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Write in the comment section down below what manhwa you've been reading and I might just take a look. Till next time though, have a good read.